That didn't mean I still wasn't nervous as hell at being recalled from my archive job in Los Angeles to London, especially when there had yet to be an explanation for it. "Mom, you do realize they speak every language, right?" I answered in Spanish, trying to keep things light. "My love, you don't have to stay with this place. You don't owe them anything. Your father can get you a job at the CIA, FBI, even MI6 if you wanted to stay in London. Just say the word." I smiled, knowing that this all came from a place of deep love and affection, something that most families in our income bracket didn't have. It might have had something to do with the fact that we had to be close to survive as a mixed-race family among those who proudly and often talked about how they could trace their lineage to founding fathers. My mother was the only child of my grandparents, who had fled Mexico when they found out my grandmother was pregnant with her. When she was a fresh-faced 19-year-old, she won Miss New Mexico and had come to New York for the Miss America pageant. She didn't go home with a crown, but 6 months later, she was married to the most eligible bachelor in the city, my father, Thomas Kane. His name ensured entry into society, but not acceptance. My mother was one of the strongest people I knew, and she taught us how to navigate the tricky waters of society while still managing to be ourselves. I was proud of my heritage on both sides, but it was never easy. Most people liked to put you in a box, and when you didn't fit, it meant you were a special kind of other. Growing up, I learned the hard way that the only people who would accept me, who I could trust not to use me, was my family. When I got older and joined the military, then special forces, and finally the archive, that circle of trust did expand, but not by much. The archive was my family, or it had been. And I knew my mother was right. I didn't owe them anything. But, for whatever reason, I just couldn't leave them. I appreciate that, but I'm staying for now. Well, if you change your mind, you let me know. Ramon can have the jet ready in an hour. Thanks, Mom. Of course, my love. So, since you're at the London office, have you seen Luke there? My mother asked, innocently. I should have been surprised by the sudden change in subject, but I wasn't. I had a distant uncle that was a Mothman, so my family already knew that supernatural beings were real, and they were delighted that I'd eloped with a brainy, sweet orc who had doted on me like I was a fucking queen. So delighted, in fact, that a year after our divorce, they still asked about him. "No, Mom, I haven't." "Don't get snippy with me. I know you haven't gotten over him. You haven't dated at all since the divorce." "That's not true. I've dated." "One date. One." "Mom, I don't want to talk about this again. It's over. I haven't seen him since we signed the papers. He's probably buried in a dusty library under a pile of books. Or under a hot, nerdy woman who can talk dirty to him in Sumerian or some shit that I never could. It was supposed to be a good thing when your family liked your husband. But when my brothers still looped him into their fantasy football brackets, when my dad still called him for lunch when he was in London and my mother still sent him Christmas presents, it became less wonderful and more frustrating. How the hell am I supposed to move on when they all still act like we're married? Hell, Anthony practically cried when I said we were done. I think he loved Luke more than me. Luke and I were complete opposites, and at first that was exactly what had attracted me to him. I was the one that knew 10 different ways to kill a man with my bare hands. Luke knew every obscure dialect on the planet. He was brains. I was brawn. And I loved him for how different he was, how he seemed not to care about who my family was. But then things went pear-shaped. Not fast, not even noticeably at first. It was little things here and there, and before I knew it, I was taking extra missions and requesting that Luke not be sent with me just so I could get away from the